Welcome in. What's Right with Nick Wright, episode 275. Got to get right into it. Ton to do. Baseball ended yesterday. Basketball's going. That's actually not going to be in the show. NFL trade deadline approaching us, and our Week 9 NFL gambling show. Also, programming note that has to be so frustrating for our producers because they find out the programming notes the exact same time the audience does, which is when I say them on the air. My apologies for that. But I always think, I'm like, oh yeah, I have to tell everyone. And then we're on the air and I remember Damonza is going to find it out as well. Next Thursday, we're not going to be able to do the show as regularly scheduled because I am going to be in Las Vegas. The reason I'm in Las Vegas, we will discuss more during the show, but next Thursday, we're not going to do our typical gambling show. We'll figure out what we're going to do. Today, though, we are doing our typical gambling show, and if you've been listening to or watching the gambling shows this year, you kind of know how it goes. I give you a mediocre slate of picks, either 3-2 or 2-3, and Damonza gives you a teaser that wins by 15 points. It is really just an insane turn of events, but that's the world in which we live. Damonza will get to you in just a moment. Here's what missed the cut for the show. Jaywalking, officially legal in New York City. I didn't fact check this story. And be honest, I'm not sure I'm going to trust the NYPD to get that memo when they don't want to. LeBron and Bronny return to Cleveland. Bronny scores a point, gets a steal, or scores 2 points, pretty dope. And Aaron Rodgers evidently finds the fountain of youth. I don't really know why Aaron Rodgers, Damonza, feels the need to keep telling us all these things rather than just, I don't know, playing better. What's up? What do you have in your hand?
I've got the fountain of youth drink that Aaron Rodgers is claiming. This is cayenne
oh, really?
pepper and water. Yeah, so I'm gonna take
Oh, you're gonna try it? Wow, what a bold move. Is that really what you just tried? Is it cayenne pepper and water? Oh, I mean, I can't. I'm just gonna have to take. Oh, it is. Can I say one other thing? For all the time Aaron Rodgers spends in weird corners on the internet and talking to people, the fact that he is just now hearing about the cayenne pepper, water, lemon juice thing is bizarre to me. I knew that was a thing. Like when people are doing like 48-hour fasts, that's the thing. They drink water with cayenne pepper and lemon.
Curb your
I don't know.
or
Whatever.
That was truly disgusting.
I honestly,
I feel no younger.
Oh, I have. Yeah, I have to imagine it's not great. When I used to do the mornings, and then we'll get right to the World Series, and I had that 3:30 a.m. wake-up call for years, and I'd stay up and watch basketball, sleep for 3 hours, do the show, come back home, sleep for another 3 hours, just drive you literally nuts. I started taking ginger cayenne pepper shots when I woke up. Do you remember I had them in my little mini fridge?
Yeah.
Orange shots. Yeah. Peter King wrote about how they were all over NFL facilities, that guys would use them after naps, or that it was helpful and it was a way to not drink so much coffee. And so I did start doing that. But that's neither here nor there. All right, let's get to the World Series. Go ahead.
So you and Wilds and Brew have been camping out at Yankee stadiums the last couple of days. The series obviously wrapped up last night. The Dodgers rallied and came back down from 0-5. How does this compare to the closeouts of other World Series to you? The closeout game.
Well, here's what yeah, sure. So, listen, the Dodgers were the better team, and even if the Yankees won last night, the Dodgers were the strong favorites for the series. But there was going to be massive pressure on the Dodgers going from up 3-0 to it being 3-2. 24 is the number, prior to this series had been up 3-0 in the World Series. 21 had closed it out in 4. Only 3 had ever lost Game 4 and then needed Game 5, and none of those teams had ever lost Game 5. And the last team to be up 3-0 in the World Series before the Dodgers and not close it out in 4 was 1970. So they were on unprecedented ground, or shaky ground already, that was getting unprecedented. And when the biggest story for the Yankees is Aaron Judge's bat isn't going, and in the first inning, bang, 2-run bomb, and then Jazz hits a bomb, and Stanton hits a bomb, and the stadium is rocking, and Cole is absolutely dealing. And then Judge robs Freddie Freeman of a home run, or a potential home run, certainly a double. I don't know. I mean, he jumped and stole it off the wall, but I'm not sure if it quite would have cleared. Everything is coming up Yankees. And then one of the most tragic innings of defense you will ever see in your life. It got started, sadly, with Aaron Judge messing up on a routine kind of line drive fly ball combo, just dropped it. Then Volpe makes a questionable play at short. So we have back-to-back errors. But still, bases loaded, nobody out. And Garrett Cole strikes out the 9-hitter, then strikes out Ohtani, and then Mookie Betts is at the plate, and Mookie hits a ground ball to first base. And they're going to get out of the inning, up 5-0, despite all the defensive lapses, no damage done. And Garrett Cole doesn't cover first, and Rizzo can't get to first. And they both just stand there and watch Mookie Betts screaming down the baseline. And then all of a sudden, Freddie Freeman hits a double. Teoscar Hernandez gets a hit, and it's 5-5, and Yankee Stadium is catatonic. It was an unbelievable gag job in a half inning to lose the World Series. And sports, Damonza, are so cruel. Because Judge has struggled in the playoffs his whole career. Yesterday, definitively, was shaping up to be his greatest postseason game and moments by far. The home run, stealing a home run, another big hit. And for that was, I think, the only error he committed in the outfield all year. And it's a routine play in the World Series, just didn't squeeze his glove quite right. So
like
now that haunts him, that lives with him.
Jason Tatum missing a layup to go up 10, and instead they get like a 3 on the other side. It starts a run.
Yes.
And it's like you
end up except it's also Game 5 of the NBA Finals, and they lose.
It's the close
and their season's over. And I'm going to add one other point to it, to your context. In the previous dozen playoff games, Tatum was shooting 24%, and the team was winning despite him. Yeah. I mean, this was this was Judge's first multi-hit playoff game all season. And prior to last night, in his last 35 playoff games, dating back 5 years, he had one multi-hit game. This is a guy who just had maybe the greatest season by a right-handed hitter ever. So that's a tough one, man. And now on the other side. So I'm going to give you guys a little Dodgers history, because this is the flip side to the cruelty of sports. Is sometimes you bang, bang, bang on the door, and then finally mercifully break through. Dave Roberts got hired to coach the Los Angeles Dodgers, or manage, the Los Angeles Dodgers in 2016. They won 90 games. They go to the NLCS, lose, good season. It then started the following run, Damonza. And again, I'll say this for you, but also for our audience might be like, we don't talk baseball on this show, so they might not be as familiar with what the benchmarks are or whatever. 81 wins obviously means you're a 500 team. 90 wins means you're a good team. Usually that makes the playoffs. 100 wins means you are an awesome team. And anything north of 100, you are almost assuredly the best team in baseball this year. Okay, that year. Some years there are multiple 100-win teams, but it's pretty rare. That actually did happen to the Dodgers once, where they won 106 and the Giants in their own division won 107, but that's pretty rare. So Dave Roberts takes over in 2016. Here's how it goes for them. 2017, 104 wins, go to the World Series, lose in 7 to the Astros. That Astros team, you know, they might have had the signs and the pounding and the signals and the cheating and the whatever. But hey, Dodgers looking great. The next season, only 92 wins, get right back to the World Series, but get smoked by the Red Sox. The very next season, Damonza, 106 wins, lose in the first round. The next year is the pandemic year. They win the World Series, but there's no fans, there's no crowd. It's a 60-game season, and people are like, eh. The very next year, 106 wins, don't make the World Series. 2022, 111 wins, lose in round 1. Last year, 100 wins, lose in round 1. And this year, 98 wins, smoke everyone in the playoffs, almost lose in round 1, and then smoke the Mets, smoke the Yankees, win the World Series. Like, they have been banging on the door with really tough postseasons. Well, probably the randomness of to what? What were you going to say?
I was going to say Ohtani, but I know he didn't carry throughout the series, but
no, but he did. He played his best in the one series they almost lost, the NLDS, and without him they would have lost that. And I do think that even though he wasn't playing great, I do think just having him at the top of your lineup put so much stress on the pitchers. So, no doubt about it, having Ohtani there helped them. But also, the other thing that's the difference is it's baseball, man. And these a best of 5 series, you can just get beat even if you're way better. It's just so different than the other sports. So, I'm thrilled for Dave Roberts. I'm thrilled for Freddie Freeman. I love Mookie Betts. It's a great story. But it's just so painful for them to lose like that as a Yankee. If you're a Yankee fan, it's painful to lose like that. All right, what's your follow-up before we get to football?
Are you officially a baseball guy? Are we going to start talking more baseball on the pod, or is this just...
So here's the thing. We don't talk it on the pod because it is weird to parachute in after not talking it all year. And there are 2 types of baseball games I like watching. First type is the Royals when they're good. And the second type is any playoff baseball game. The difference in enjoyment level, excitement, and nerves from a playoff baseball game to a regular season game can't be compared to anything else in sports. Regular season, it just feels like, whatever. Find a way to get through the game. Whatever. Playoff baseball, it's the 3rd inning, and it's a 1-1 count, and the ball's on the corner, and your team's at bat, and you thought it was an inch off the plate, and they call it a strike, and you're like, you've got to be kidding me. Should be 2-1. We're in control of the count now. It's 1-2. Every pitch is so nerve-wracking. So I love playoff baseball. I don't pretend to be a baseball expert, but I was out on the field at Yankee Stadium the last couple of days, and I at least pretended to be one pretty damn well. I'm not a baseball guy, but I do love playoff baseball. And I gotta say, and we can show the picture, I deeply appreciate Fox and FS1 setting me, Wilds, and Brew up like that. I mean, this is the biggest World Series baseball's had in at least a decade. And, you could argue in 30 years, the Cubs making their first World Series in forever was maybe more substantial. But it's what Yankees Dodgers is as good as it gets in baseball. And for Fox to put the effort and resources into getting us out there and then getting us John Smoltz, Alex Rodriguez, Joe Davis, and Dave Roberts on the show was just, and Big Poppy on the show remote the day before. It was just phenomenal. And so I greatly, greatly appreciate it. All right, pal, let's go to the NFL.
Yeah, so the trade deadline is approaching, and teams are making moves, and they're making them fast. So Baltimore just landed Deontay Johnson. I don't know, could we not have gotten some defensive help there? But, yeah, we got a receiver. The Vikings got offensive line help, and other names are to be rumored. Does every team need to be a buyer in order to dethrone your Chiefs?
Well, nobody's good enough to beat the Chiefs right now. So I guess the answer to that is yes. I do have to say, it's not Damonza that I think that's a bad move for Baltimore. It's just not the move I would have made. And here's what I don't understand. Whenever Baltimore loses, people are like, we should have run the damn ball more. And then at the trade deadline, they go out and add another, decent wide receiver. I do think the Vikings, Christian Darrisaw,
he went down just last week, right?
Yes, and it immediately crippled Darnold. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was saying they got to that very fast. Like, that was literally just last week. It must have been a huge problem.
Correct, because you're right. They knew, like, we are cooked without a better left tackle. It's very difficult to get quality offensive linemen at the trade market. It also, the Jags trading away Trevor's left tackle, not great for me. So I think that's a sharp move by them. Listen, the Chiefs, Jalen Watson, who's one of the better players that nobody outside of Kansas City knows about, was their cornerback 2. He broke his ankle. That is now an actual position of weakness for Kansas City. I know that the Rams are, potentially shopping Tre'Davious White. I don't think Tre'Davious White is good anymore. I feel the kid was excellent, but he suffered multiple substantial lower body injuries, and he's just not a real player anymore. I wouldn't mind the Chiefs trading for a corner. I know Baltimore, I think, should want to trade for a corner. And so, the Chiefs added Josh Uche for nothing, and they added DeAndre Hopkins. I like both of those moves. All right, let's move on to the next topic, Damonza.
So the Colts, they benched Anthony Richardson, which I feel like might have been a little bit of a punishment for him checking himself out. But you were super high on Anthony Richardson. It seems like he's too rough to be a competent quarterback in the moment. Quarterbacks are getting benched very fast. So it's time to dust the cobwebs off and let's do the Nick Makes It Right segment. Fix the NFL's problem with quarterback development. Do you think these guys need to play better? What's the situation there?
So the biggest problem with quarterback development right now is you're not trying to develop these guys. So Anthony Richardson completed 52% of his passes in college. He only started 10 games. He was considered the rawest prospect ever to go in the first round. And you took him number 4 overall because you were like, man, in a couple years, this guy might be able to be a superhero. To give up on that player after 10 games is an abomination. Here's the thing. The Niners took Trey Lance, who played a dozen college games at the FCS level, knowing he was a raw project. They gave up on him even quicker. However, he suffered a season-ending injury, and they had a kid his age. I got to take this jacket off. It's too hot. They had a kid his age who they thought could be good, if not great. So it was like, hey, we can still be developing a young player. To give up on the 4th pick of the draft, less than a dozen starts into his career, for a 39-year-old Joe Flacco is one of the most inexplicable, unforgivable franchise decisions. What do you think you're doing with Joe Flacco? The same shit you tried to do last year with Gardner Minshew? Find a way to get to 8-9 wins, be the 7 seed, and get absolutely blasted in round 1 of the playoffs? Last year, they didn't even quite get to round 1 of the playoffs. Like, you have no... The whole idea behind drafting Anthony Richardson is it's going to be really rough, he's going to be really bad, but eventually, if it clicks for him, he's maybe the greatest natural athlete to ever play the position. To flat throw in the towel 10 starts into his career, it's a shorter leash than the Panthers gave Bryce Young. And you might say, Nick, you weren't as hard on Carolina for giving up on Bryce. Totally different situations. Bryce was a multi-year, awesome college player for a national champion program who was not raw at all. Bryce was, the worry about Bryce was, is he going to be too small? And then he got to the NFL, and he is. And so, there's no fixing that. Bryce was supposed to be, relatively speaking, pro-ready. Anthony Richardson was supposed to, it's like you discover, this is an on-the-fly analogy, a child prodigy in biomechanics in a different country. And the kid doesn't speak a lick of English. And you're like, all right, we're going to bring him here to work with our team because he's a savant. However, it's going to be very frustrating and very trying because it's going to be at least 2, maybe 3 years till he can communicate with our people. But once he gets the language down, if he gets the language down, he is going to be so additive and take us to the next level. And then 6 months in, his manager's like, I can't work with this. The kid can't speak English. Give me the average guy who knows how to put the widgets in the wall. And they're like, okay, fine. What are you doing? What's the plan? So the Anthony Richardson thing, and again, I want to make this clear. I am not saying I am convinced Anthony Richardson would ever be good. What I am saying is, 18 months ago, you made a choice to spend the 4th pick of the draft on a guy who had 10 college starts, who everyone said it was going to be one of the rawest prospects ever and completed 52% of his passes in college. To then give up on him because he's completing 51% of his passes in the NFL after 10 starts is bananas. And I'm going to give you another example. The Buffalo Bills took Josh Allen, a 2-star out of Wyoming, whose best collegiate accolade was like honorable mention Mountain West, who was inaccurate in college, and said, all right, it's going to be ugly early, but he's 6'5", 240, has a cannon if we can harness it. Josh Allen's first dozen games of his career, I'm trying to pull it up right now. Well, I'll just give you his full rookie season. Yeah. He had a 68 passer rating and completed 52% of his passes. He had some of these, he was 8 of 19. He was 13 of 26. He was 6 of 15. He had passer ratings his rookie season of 36, 42, 44, 52, 56, 63, 71, 71. He had 3 games he threw for under 100 yards. They stuck with him because they're like, well, this was the plan. And then in year 2, Josh Allen only completed, where's the completion? 58% of his passes, but it trended in the right direction. He got a little bit better. And then year 3 was in the AFC Championship game. And they were like, it's just so dumb.
The Colts aren't doing anything this year. Dumb. So why not just let him get the reps in and develop?
That's my point.
Yeah.
And the guy sitting behind him, it's not like they had a version of Sam Darnold sitting behind him where it's like, oh, a guy who was once thought of as a blue chipper, who's in his late 20s, who we have now fallen in love with, and if he's really good, we're going to have him for the next 10 years. It's Joe Flacco.
He's on his way out.
He's almost 40. And so that one really annoys me. It really annoys me. All right, let's move on.
So it's Halloween, and although we will not be dressing out, we're still going to get in the spirit. It's time to take a look at which NFL teams have the scariest future going forward. We're breaking it into 3 different categories of teams, and you'll decide whose situations are the spookiest, and that's in a bad way. So the first, we got the upper tier team with the scariest future is, and the middle class team with the scariest future is, and then the bottom feeder that has the scariest future.
Okay, so this is actually quite an easy exercise for me. The upper tier
can I
team
guess?
With the scariest.
The
top
very
tier?
easy.
Yeah, sure, please.
The first is Niners? No?
Oh, no. Actually, that's not it.
Okay.
No, because the Niners they have enough really good players, and we'll see like what the Purdy contract comes in at, but no, it's not the Niners. It's the Bengals.
Oh, okay.
Because T. Higgins is gone after this year. They have not done well enough on building the defense or the offensive line. And you didn't pay Jamar Chase last year. You're going to pay him this year. So he's going to be top of the market. And it just feels like they really put they could have taken the longer view and 2 years ago a year ago traded T and gotten a first round pick and something. They're like, no, we beat the Chiefs and then we lost to the Chiefs in the AFC title game. We're right there. And then last year went to hell because Burrow got hurt. And then this year they're like, no, we're still not trading T. We're going for it again. And then this year's going to hell because the defense stinks and the inside of the offensive line's not good. And so this was their moment. They're only going to have less talent on the roster. I think they have a coaching question. To me, I think it's the Bengals that it's like, geez, man, how are we going to not have capitalized more on this moment? The mid-tier team, I said this was really easy, but then I forgot who. Hold on, now I have to scroll the standings. Oh, I know who it is. Do you have a guess, Damonza, or do you want to say yours before I do it?
Well, I just have a hard time deciding what middle tier is.
Yeah, sure.
Because I feel like the team like the Jets, is that mid or is that lower tier? Like, is that?
We'll call them. It could be either.
Right.
But I'd
go Dallas, but go ahead. That's why. Because I don't consider them a top tier team anymore.
No, they're definitely not top tier right now. But I have 2 answers for you. And they're both AFC East teams. It's the Jets and the Dolphins. I'd be really worried about both situations. The Dolphins' salary cap situation is grotesque. And they really went for it right now. And it seems like some of that Mike McDaniel magic has worn off a bit. The defense is not good. Tyreek is openly pining to be a Chief again, and we don't know what Tua's future holds. The Jets, on the other hand, are just they gave their franchise over to a madman. He's not good at football anymore, and they're going to need a new GM, a new head coach, a new quarterback, and they do have some they don't have, they just gave what's going to end up being like the 66th pick of the draft for Devontae Adams. They've got Garrett Wilson, they have Sauce, they have Quinnen.
Like going into next year. I hope he doesn't retire. I really don't want him to retire, but yeah.
Why?
I just don't want him to retire to see if the Jets will keep him. Like, I just want to see if they're like, all right, let's run it back.
Well,
here's the thing. And who else is going to, then like maybe Carolina goes out there and tries to grab him or something. I don't know.
No, even if he doesn't retire, the Jets are going to clean house, and the new GM is going to use their first-round pick on a quarterback. Like, that's going to happen. Now, if Rodgers is there, maybe he starts the year as the starter, but I don't know.
Okay.
And then the bottom-tier team, Damonza, I think you could probably guess it. It's pretty obvious who it is. But, yeah, like, do you have a team you want to say, or you just want me to do it?
Bottom tier, I'm gonna put out three. I'm gonna put out the Carolina Panthers. I'll do Tennessee, and
that's
I'll
all you need to say. No,
Okay.
It's just Carolina. Carolina is so much more screwed than. Well, you know what? I lied to you. Who was the third team you were gonna say?
I was gonna say the Patriots, but I don't know if.
No, the Patriots might not be, because Drake May might be good, but there are two. The Panthers are screwed because the ownership is terrible. They don't have good players. They don't have a quarterback. They don't even have all their draft picks. Not great. The other team that's on that list is New Orleans, because New Orleans doesn't have the quarterback and also doesn't have the cap to rebuild that team, but they at least have their draft picks. But yeah, that's a fun exercise. I enjoyed that. All right, so real quick, by the way, because I said at the top of the show, so you guys saw on Twitter and Instagram a few weeks ago, I did that gold pass giveaway, thanks to the folks at PokerStars and the NAPT. And What's Right Show listener won it. He seems so excited. I think we talked about it on the show. If not, I apologize. But it was we did talk. I know. No, you're fine. I know we talked about the giveaway once, like mentioning it, but I don't know if we talked about the winner on the show. But this kid, who's a legit poker player, won what they call a gold pass, and I'm trying to pull up. Benjamin Valder is his name. But he's, a grinder, and now he gets to play in the NAPT, Las Vegas main event. It's a $5,000 free roll essentially for him, and gets the hotel and airfare, all that. It was so cool. And while that's going on, the reason I'm not going to be here next Thursday is because I'm doing a quick turnaround 48 hours in Vegas, because I'm going to Vegas to play in the big game on tour, which is, poker fans will understand this, but even if you're not a poker fan, this will have relevance to you, because it's a cool concept. The way this thing originally worked was decade plus ago. A 6-handed poker game, you're going to play 150 hands. 5 professionals all sit down with $50,000 cash, and one drawing winner, essentially, they called the loose cannon, gets given the buy-in, $50,000. But Damonza, they can't be like, okay, I'm just going to fold every hand and walk with the $50,000. They only get to keep their profit. So they're super incentivized to play hands and be aggressive. And at the end, so PokerStars gives you 50 grand to play with, but you only get to keep what you make. You've got 10 hands left, and you're sitting there with 52,000. You've won, or 48,000. Well, you're super incentivized to go crazy at the end, because if you walk with 48 grand, you actually walk, whether you have 0 or 49,999, you are getting $0 out of it. You only keep the profit.
And so if you got up big, like in the middle, like if I went up 60K,
yeah,
you then start folding.
So
it's like,
right,
oh, I walk
so
away
if you're
with
the
10.
loose cannon, well, no, so if you're the loose cannon, and let's say you early on double, so in your 50 turns into 100, you now have the opportunity, if you want, to just fold essentially the rest of the way and walk away with your profit. Call it, $50,000. But there's multiple layers to it because there's multiple loose cannons, because there's, over the course of a season, it's a TV show. So you know what I mean? There'll be multiple events. And the loose cannon, and on the original, that had the most profit won an extra jackpot of a bunch of tournament entries and stuff like that. So you want to win money, but you also want to win the most money because then you get the extra juice on it, right? That's how the original one worked. The way this one works is, instead of it being 1 loose cannon and 5 pros, it's 1 loose cannon, 3 pros, and 2 people like me. So the game I'm playing in, but all the same rules. You keep your profit, whatever. So the game I'm playing in, I'm not sure. Not sure if I'm allowed to say who's in it. All right, so playing in this game will be a loose cannon. Myself, Rob Gronkowski, and then 3 pros who, again, I'm not sure exactly who the pros are, but could be someone like Phil Hellmuth, Tony G, Sean Deeb, those folks. And so now it's kind of even Steven in that you got 3 pros at the table, 3 non-pros at the table. Gronk's there. I don't know that Gronk is studying, GTO Wizard for the optimal post-flop play on, low paired boards. And so we're going to be out there cooking. And so you can watch it on YouTube, and it'll be episodic. There'll be like 6 episodes. And I'm saying it right now, Damonza. I am setting my personal goal. So I'm sitting down like everyone does with 50 grand. And if I don't win at least $72,000, I'm going to be disappointed. Okay. And that's the goal for basically a double up and a half. So I plan to end these 150 hands with about 125 grand in front of me. That's the plan. And you, your mom, your sister, and your other sister are all in for a 5% profit free roll. And when I say your mom, she's really in for a 100% profit free roll. But you and your 2 sisters are all in for 5% profit free roll. You actually would get it. Your sisters, it's the best thing in the world when, because I always put them, put you guys, when I'm going to Vegas gambling real money. So I like to make it like I'm doing good parenting when it's just me gambling money in Vegas. Your piece of it, I have to actually ship to you. Your 2 sisters, I put in their college fund in their named bank accounts because they're not old enough to actually have the money. But here's the thing. I'm not going to reveal my results like the day I get back because it's a show. They want there to be some suspense to it, but you'll be able to watch it on YouTube. It's going to be super dope. So
appreciate that, Pops.
Go ahead.
But yeah, you need to get into those battles with Gronk. Yeah, get him
that's
down.
The idea.
Get him down.
Yeah, get Gronk to buy back in. I don't think Gronk's coming there with 1 bullet. Because if you lose the 50, you can buy back in as much as you want. I was watching the one that came out a few months ago. What's the guy's name? Oh, my God. Alan. He's a crazy gambler, and I watched the whole thing. Allen, this is going to bother me so much. Doesn't matter.
John Allen?
But, no, John, good. I appreciate that. You're not going to be able to guess it. I watch him all the time. I have to look this up because it's going to bother me. But the point is, he bought in for $300,000. And so, like, I don't know how much Gronk's going to buy in for him. I guess is not that. But that game played really big. That game played Alan Keating. Keating is his name.
Keating.
That game played really big. I don't think this game will play quite as big. All right, gambling show. Speaking of that, gambling show next. What's right? Hey guys, what's right with Nick Wright? And the NBA is finally back. A new season means new ways to get into the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Who's draining threes? Who's crashing the boards? Get behind your favorite players and prop bets you can make on DraftKings, the home of NBA player props. First time betting? New DraftKings customers, you bet $5, you can get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Every point counts with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code WRIGHT. That's code WRIGHT for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in New York. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY, which is 467-369 in Connecticut. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bball. All right, Damonza. So as I mentioned last week, another 2-3 week from me. But again, it's because of a Hail Mary at the end. Like, are you kidding me? We can show you my picks. I'm now a game under 500 on the season. Cleveland plus 8.5 against Baltimore, they win outright. Atlanta minus 2.5 against Tampa, they win easily. Green Bay minus 4 against Jacksonville, they win by 3. Fine. New Orleans plus 7 at the Chargers, wrong side of it. The Bears are up 3 with 20 seconds left, and then up 3 with 2 seconds left, and then the worst Hail Mary defense you've ever seen, and I lose. So, whatever. Just so annoying. However, TD Genie did pay. How about that? I told you guys. You thought Travis Kelce wasn't gonna score a touchdown National Tight Ends Day? Give me a break. I mean, just give me a break. All right. Before we get to your amazing teaser streak, listen. I know the producers spent a lot of time researching the stats on my picks. I don't want to get into it. I'm depressed about the picks. The numbers say I'm just coin flipping. I mean, the numbers say just you could follow Nick's picks or you could just flip a coin. Go 500. It's so frustrating. I'm so annoyed about it. It doesn't seem
it's a long season. We still got a whole other half of the season for you to get back on track. It's not like you're like 10 games below 500. You're 1 game.
No. Can I tell you something? I think if I was 10 games below 500, I would feel better.
You'd rather
because it would feel like I'm actually doing something. Now, I'd be doing something bad, but I'd be doing something. Being 500, just being dead 500 is just so annoying. All right. First pick of the week, Damonza. The weirdest line of the NFL season.
Yeah, 100%. Houston +2 at the Jets. What is going on there?
Listen,
Like,
I mean, this is such an outrageous line. All of my gambling instincts say this is a must stay away, but I can't help myself. Like, it is so, the 6-2 Houston Texans are giving points to the 2-6 New York Jets on a short week. It is an outrage. And it's so bad that it feels like it's such a trap that you just have to stay away. But I can't. I just can't. This might be my last opportunity of the season to bet against the Jets while getting points against a good team. I get it. The Texans offense, no Nico and no Diggs. That's going to be a problem. But this is what I just keep coming back to, Damonza. How on earth are the Jets going to be able to keep Aaron Rodgers upright against this DeMeco Ryans front? Rodgers is banged up, and he's banged up with not a full week to recover. Like that, how is he not going to get just hit and hit and hit tonight? I think he is. And so
Wait, what?
It's such. What do you mean?
That game's tonight?
What's the?
I'm sorry. I'm just finding out
Yes.
that game is today. That's awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I cannot wait.
It's a fun Thursday game. It's also likely the final. Here's the thing. It's probably the final time Aaron Rodgers on national TV the rest of his career. They're not going to make the playoffs. They have no Monday night games left. They have no Thursday night games left. They have one Sunday night football game left. But that can be flexed. You want to know who that game is against? Joe Flacco and the Indianapolis Colts. Jets-Colts is getting its ass flexed out of there. The two oldest quarterbacks in the league hobbling around for bad teams. Get out of here. And so this is probably Aaron's last game on national TV. And I'm just betting against him. Go ahead.
It is like I saw the line and I'm staying away from it because there must be something up there because there's just no way. Like Vegas is like, yeah, -2. But yeah, I mean,
can I tell you
props
something?
to you for going through with it. Yeah.
No, not props to me. I mean, that was a really good example of the student becoming the teacher. I mean, you're right. It should be a stay away. It should be a stay away. I just can't help it. I can't help myself. And I'm going to bet it. I am definitively going to bet the Texans on the money line tonight. So I'm putting it in the picks. Next
you got Cincinnati -7 versus the Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I know Cincinnati has been really shaky lately. The Raiders are a terrible team. They're a terrible team. And the Chiefs didn't play that well this past week. They did whatever they wanted. They were up 14 late in this game. Cincinnati has to win. They're at home. The Raiders are not going to be able to slow down Burrow and Chase. And the Bengals defense, as bad as it is, I just don't think the Raiders offense scares you. And
Crosby against that
Burrow
line?
Listen, that is. Here's the thing about the Bengals line, though. They kind of have the opposite offensive line of the Chiefs. The Chiefs have, some question marks at tackle, but are amazing guard, center, guard. The Bengals tackles are fine, but are brutal guard, center, guard. Crosby's going to be on the edge. Yeah. And so, the Chris Jones be a real problem for Cincinnati because he's right in front, he's right in the middle. Crosby, you just have to chip block or double team Crosby every snap. No one else in the Raiders is going to hurt you. Burrow is 17-7 against the spread after a straight up loss. I like Cincinnati. Next.
You got Jacksonville +7.5 at Philly.
Yeah, so listen. Philly's played really well lately. I think they're due for a bit of a slight regression. Again, I give Philly credit. They pulled their season off the brink. But 7.5 is a lot of points when Jacksonville is an excellent passing attack. It's not just Trevor. They're just that Jacksonville, now they're dealing with some injuries. I understand that. But Jacksonville can move the ball. And Philly's defense is, to me, not as good as it's looked the last couple of weeks. Backdoor cover wide open. And I think Philly is not going to be quite as sharp. This just feels to me like 27-20 Philadelphia. This feels like 28-24 Philadelphia. The 7.5 to me is too many points for an Eagles team that I don't fully 100% trust. I don't love Jacksonville trading away the left tackle before the game. I'll tell you that much. But 7.5 for a game that I wouldn't be shocked if Jacksonville won outright and Philly, after 3 straight wins, stumbles a bit. But I'm not picking them to win outright. I am picking them to not be getting blown out. And as long as you're within 13, 14 points the whole game, this backdoor cover will be wide open. I think they're going to be within 6 or 7 throughout the game. So for all those reasons, I'll take Jacksonville plus the 7.5. And by the way, Jalen Hurts is a favorite over 7 points. 3-8-1 against the spread. All right, next.
Chicago plus 1.5 at the Cardinals.
So here's an insane stat. The Cardinals have won back-to-back games. That is the first time they won back-to-back games since 2021. I'm going to say that again. Not 3 in a row, not 4 in a row. The Cardinals had not won consecutive games since 2021. Now we're talking about them winning 3 games in a row. Meanwhile, Chicago is coming off a horrifying loss that they have to make sure doesn't submarine their season. And Caleb has to have a big bounce back game. Because even though Caleb was good those final drives, he was brutal for 3.5 quarters. The Cardinals' defense is a perfect get-right spot for Caleb. I think the Bears win this game outright. I don't think that the Cardinals' defense is going to be able to handle the Bears' vertical passing attack or their rushing attack with Roschon Johnson and DeAndre Swift. And I do think the Bears' defense will be able to slow down Kyler and Marvin Harrison and company. And so for all those reasons, I like Chicago plus 1.5. Last one, Damonza, and this is my favorite one.
You've got the Rams minus 1.5 at Seattle.
Yeah, I think the Rams are good. The Rams, when they're healthy, I think are really good. Seattle, I think, is defensively really, really has some issues right now. I like Mike McDonald, their new head coach, from a defensive standpoint. I don't know right now if it's more scheme or personnel or a combination of the two, but the Rams also understand they win this game. They control this division. They've already beaten the Niners. They'll even their record to 4-4 despite all the injuries. They knock Seattle back. Another tough moment for Seattle. I think the Rams go there and win 30-27, something like that. A high-scoring affair. Seattle moves the ball on the Rams' defense. But if I think the Rams are going to win, I'm not laying a field goal. This one is my favorite pick of the week. If I still did locks, this would be it, even though it's a road divisional favorite. And I know that kind of goes against it. Plus, and I know Stafford historically is not good. In fact, he's the worst against the spread quarterback on extended rest of any quarterbacks in the last 5 years. I don't really care about that. I actually love that the Rams are on extended rest here. That they played on Thursday, got a great win, and now they come back the following Sunday. I like the Rams laying 1.5. All right. So and again, McVay's not good on extended rest either. I think those trends are gonna go in the other direction. My 5 picks this week: Houston getting 2 tonight at the Jets. Cincinnati laying 7 at home against the Raiders. Jacksonville getting 7.5 at Philly. Chicago getting 1.5 at Arizona. And the Rams laying 1.5 at Seattle. 4 road teams, 3 dogs, 2 favorites. There it is. Now to the actual money-making portion of the show, Damonza's teaser. Damonza, go ahead.
Yeah, last week it was Cleveland plus 15.5. And that one cashed, and Kansas City minus 2.5.
The Raiders, they won outright.
And they won. Both those teams won. Yeah, so this week it's
5 in a row.
2 teams set. No, and I remember you said, and I don't want to pile on, but you did say something on the pod. I said, which I regret. I came on here and I was like, hey, I don't want anybody coming at me saying like I've got inside information on the NFL. I'm about to start hitting these teasers. And you said I'd be shocked if you were something in 3. I don't remember what that number was, but I'll probably just have to go back and watch it. But no, this week's
whatever it is, you started. I mean, you've hit 5 in a row.
Did start off
5 in a row. Yeah. You also have hit multiple 5-team parlays and pulled back you have hit 2 5-team
terrible parlay last weekend.
Right. So Damonza has sent me 4 parlays. He hit 2 of them. One of them he lost 1 leg. Was it the Ravens? I don't even remember what it was. And
it was
another
on the
one,
Jets.
he would. Yeah, that's right. You hit the Ravens, but you lost it on the Jets. And another one, it was a 16 parlay. He got 4 of them wrong, and he canceled it. He sent it, and then was like, actually, on second thought, don't place it. So, I mean, you are, as Danny Parkins would say, you are seeing the board clearly right now. I'm very excited to hear what today's teaser is.
Shout out to Danny. This week we've got a 2-team 7.5 point teaser. It's minus 163. I'm teasing Tampa Bay up to plus 16 against the Chiefs, and I'm teasing Denver up to 17 against Baltimore. A lot of big favorites this week. The Chiefs, I don't think we know that they don't really blow teams out. And a 16-point spread, you're alive for a backdoor cover the entire game if the team is any good.
The whole game.
Then Denver plus 17 at Baltimore, kind of like same thing. Going to be alive. Denver loves letting teams back in, and I trust Sean Payton as a coach. So, that's this week's. 16 and 17 points.
I mean, listen, I do like that you're doing the sharper thing, which is teasing dogs to bigger dogs rather than the squarer thing, which is teasing. Listen, sometimes teasing favorites is the right idea, but typically this is the way to go with it. Here is my only semi-concern. Denver went out of its way to try to embarrass Carolina last week, running double passes and fake field goals while dominating the game.
Mm-hmm.
I need to look at, and I won't actually look at, but I would if I were going to actually bet this. The Panthers coaching staff, and if any of them have a close connection to John Harbaugh. Because if there's oh man, that guy used to be my assistant defensive line coach, and look, you tried to do that to them. Let me do this to you.
And it's the Ravens, and they're totally capable of doing that to Denver if they wanted to. They're totally
capable, right. That's the thing. They're totally capable of running up the score if it gets going in the wrong direction. With that said, the Denver defense has been so good, and Bo Nix has played better. I like this. I'm going to give this.
Coming off an L,
now that you need my grade. Yeah, correct. And so I'm going to give this a B+. Just because I'm a little worried about the John Harbaugh piece of it and whether or not Harbaugh is going to be pissed at what Sean Payton did. But it's not like Sean Payton did this to the Chargers and, he did something to...
yeah, because it's definitely got a relationship.
Tampa's... the Tampa line one, I will tell you, and this is the other reason I'm not giving this an A. I gave you the compliment of going on the sharp side of it. I do think that it is more likely the Chiefs blow out
blow
Tampa
them out. Then
the Chiefs lose outright. So like that now that probably Damonza, this is one that teasing it the Tampa Chiefs game in either direction would win. Like that if you teased it to the Chiefs minus 2, that's a winner, and teasing it to Tampa plus 16.5. I do think that I prefer the Chiefs side of it, but these are sharp teasers. You're getting across every key number. I like it. All right, let's do the offer before we wrap up.
So the offer is made a return. And so is this one is called Fading the Elixir. I'm not buying into the Rodgers Fountain of Youth, so we're gonna fade it, and we're gonna go for Rodgers under 1.5 touchdowns, under 233.5 yards, 1+ interception, and Houston money line, all at plus 450.
So I don't know what the numbers on it would be. I will take this offer amended. I'm taking out the 1 interception because I think strip sack is more likely. I think he's going to, and I think it is totally on the board. I'm not rooting for this, but I'm not taking any overs for Aaron Rodgers tonight, including negative overs, because I think he could get knocked out of the game. I think that Will Anderson could come clear and crack him, and he misses a drive or a couple of drives or whatever, and then doesn't get knocked. So my guess is it probably is like plus 300 without the interception in there. But Rodgers under 1.5 touchdowns, under 234 passing yards, Houston money line. I will take that offer. We can put, we can amend. It won't be plus 450. Plus 325 is what that is. I'll take that one. But I don't want to take he has to throw a pick because I'm really worried about how that line's going to be able to hold up against the Houston pass rush. And I think the Jets are going to have to run the ball a lot. And so that's the offer I will take. All right, quick break. Come back, answer a few questions, and then I got to run. What's right? Welcome back in. What's Right with Nick Wright, and the NBA is finally back. A new season means new ways to get into the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Who's draining threes? Who's crashing boards? Get behind your favorite players and the prop bets you can make on DraftKings, the home of NBA player props. First time betting, new DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Every point counts with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code WRIGHT. That's code WRIGHT for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. And again, that promo code is WRIGHT, WRIGHT. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bball. All right, Damonza, let's get to some listener questions.
Aiden A. Gillen says, is it fair to put Bryce Young in the same conversation as Achilles Smith and Jamarcus Russell?
Well, listen, Achilles Smith was number 1 overall pick. I think he was number 3, maybe number 2. He's certainly in the conversation for worst number 1 overall pick of all time. Achilles Smith, though, got injured. Jamarcus Russell didn't seem to put the work in. Bryce, the game's just too big and fast for him. I mean, it just sucks. Like, this is why I feel bad about. I don't think Bryce Young's done anything wrong, man. And he was an awesome college player. I just think that I sadly think that my pre-draft analysis of this one was spot on. Game's going to be a little too fast, and the guys are going to be a little too big for him. All right, next.
Caden Raisin asks, 3 of the top 5 scoring defenses in the NFL are in the AFC West. What are they putting in the water over there, and how did it get so much better since last season?
Well, I think some of that, listen, the Chargers defense got better through Jim Harbaugh, even though he's an offensive coach. He's just the culture. I think some of that is schedule. The Broncos defense has shocked me, but great job by Vance Joseph there. And the Chiefs defense just awesome. But I think that what's more likely is the Chiefs have the best defense in football. The Broncos have the 5th, 6th best defense in football. And the Chargers are closer to 11-12. But it's still pretty damn good. All right, next.
Stone Grimsblood, do you think the Ravens' defense regressing is similar to Eagles' defense regression?
Well, I mean, I think the Ravens lost they lost their defensive coordinator, and he was kind of, a lot of smoke and mirrors last year. I just don't think they have enough good players on the back end. It's weird because Matabuke's an excellent player. Roquan Smith's a great player. Kyle Hamilton's a very, very good, if not great player.
You got Queen out there, too.
So you have great players. Say it again?
We got Patrick Queen out there, too.
No, he's gone.
Anymore?
No. Patrick Queen, he's gone from the offseason. He was there last year. Queen left in the offseason. And so, so it's weird to have one great player at each level and not be good defensively, but they just don't have enough other guys, which is why I think some people thought that they would add someone in the offseason, or they would add someone at the deadline. All right, next.
Danny Tanner, is Jared Goff overrated this year due to his stacked team?
Listen, he's played really, really well. This past week was weird. He had 85 passing yards. They scored 52 points. Like, that's just that was a team. That was not a Jared Goff game. But the other games had been. We know the book on him. For good or for bad. If you can protect him, he is going to cook. If you protect him, he is going to see things and cook. He just can't improvise. He can't make that second act of the play. But if that first act is available, or if he can get to the second act without having to move, he's gonna be good. Next, last one.
Jaden Discalo, has your take on the Eagles changed? And if not, what would have to happen to change your mind?
It's in the listen, I don't think they have a good head coach. And I am worried about how good the quarterback really is. But these, you have to give credit where it's due. Jalen has played really well since he got his weapons back. And even though I think Sirianni's a doofus, the players seem to like him. And so my take on the Eagles is in the process of potentially changing, is what I would say. I am not going to be hard-headed and be like, no, I know they're not good. They beat the Browns. They didn't play well. That was not a good game, but they got the win. The next week, they dominated the Giants. And last week, they blew out the Bengals. So, each of these wins is getting better and better. And so we'll see. The Eagles also have to be super bummed that the Bears didn't know how to defend a Hail Mary. Because that would have been a great spot for the Washington to get a loss, You know what I mean? And all of a sudden it's like, oh, even though we'd been on shaky ground, we're right in this division race. All right. Great job, Damonza. Great job, everybody. See you guys on First Things First, back from the studio, or in the studio at 3 o'clock. And I'll see you guys back here on Tuesday next week. Good luck in all your bets. I hope you guys follow Damonza's teasers. What's right? Hey, thanks for watching. If you're still here, do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button, then hit the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes. After you've done that, one more favor, go to your favorite audio platform of choice and subscribe there as well. Don't forget, we're live every Tuesday and Thursday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern-ish. 10:35, 10:40, it sometimes changes, but that's why you hit the bell. You hit the bell so you're notified. You subscribe so we can get to 200,000 followers. We're right around 150,000. We'd love to get to 200,000, get Damonza another plaque. So like, subscribe, rate, send a rating too. Do all that cool stuff. Thanks, guys.